What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Apocalypse Movies. This is our spoilers review for Wonder Woman. Yep, we said it's spoilers. So if you haven't seen the film, you probably shouldn't watch this because we're going to talk about all the details. But there's a bunch of non-spoiler reviews out there, so you can go and watch those. Anyways, I'm Jacob Bartley for Apocalypse Movies.
I'm Jake Berlin.
I'm Gio Ramos.
And we're here to talk about Wonder Woman. This was one of our most anticipated films of the year. Personally, it was my second most anticipated movie of the year. Mm-hmm. I know you guys had it up there too. Maybe not Jake, I'm not sure. Was it in your top 10?
No, it was right outside.
Yeah, that's right. You didn't have a DC film in there. But anyways, we're here to talk about the movie. So I just want to get your guys' general thoughts. We got out of the film last night and we didn't have much time to talk about it. I don't really know what your overall opinion is on it, but what is it?
I did like it. I liked it. It's
right.
I can say that it is the best DCEU movie that has been released. There are things I didn't like, but that's with every movie, obviously. There are some major highlights in this movie. Gal Gadot is a lot better than she was in Batman v Superman.
Yeah, she's been working on it.
But there are also lines that were kind of delivered a little wooden here and there.
Yeah, of course.
Her chemistry with Chris Pine was fantastic. That's definitely one of the highlights. And the action by Patty Jenkins is it's pretty mesmerizing. Like, it's one of the best... It's some of the best action, directed action that I've seen in a long time.
For sure.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to go see it a second time at some point. And I'm looking forward to seeing her in the future, whether it's her sequel or down the line leading the Justice League or whatnot. So,
yeah. Gio, overall thoughts?
All around, guys, this is a fantastic movie. And this needed to be. This did. Because, for one, it's the very first Wonder Woman movie. Big screen feature, and second, it's really an important movie for not just the DCEU but for the comic book genre, because people are asking about a female-led superhero movie. Can it work? Would it work? We've seen it done in the past. With this one, Patty Jenkins, you can tell this is a project that she really wanted to make. In the interview, she's talking about how Richard Donner's Superman movie really inspired her. In this movie, you see elements of Captain America: The First Avenger in there, and how that movie was set during a different period of time. It didn't. It wasn't limited by any of the Marvel timeline. It could kind of be its own thing, which is what this one is. And all around, I really enjoyed it. The action is great. The dialogue, although sometimes it's delivered a little wooden, it is like when it really matters, it hits right there. There's a lot of emotion in there. There's fun in there, which is kind of turning over a new leaf for the DCEU. It's a lot more fun, whereas Suicide Squad, it kind of tried a little too hard.
Too much. I thought it was the best balance in the DCEU so far, as far as like serious and humor.
Mm-hmm. And the more I think about it, the more I just think about the things I liked. I do enjoy the movie more, so I can't wait to watch it again.
Yeah, I absolutely loved the film. Hearing your reactions, I think I might like it more than both of you. I'm not sure, but I was so looking forward to this movie, and one of the main reasons was because one thing I love about Wonder Woman is that she comes from Themyscira, right, where she's not used to like normal society, and her adapting to that. Like, that's one of my favorite things about the Wonder Woman character, and I thought they handled that so well. So I was thoroughly satisfied with this movie. I don't think it's the best DCEU film. I still think Man of Steel is. Like, I love Man of Steel. I think it's far better than it gets credit for. So I think this is the second best DCEU film. But that could change. I could go watch it a few more times and change my mind. It took me, the first time I saw Man of Steel, I didn't like it.
It took you like a year to be like holy shit.
It's watching Man of Steel 5-6 times, I realized it's brilliant. So this movie might rank higher when I see it a second time, or rank lower. You never know. But overall, I absolutely loved it, honestly. Yeah. Like, there's definitely some problems for sure. Like, there's some big issues with the movie. But I'm able to put those aside and enjoy what was good about it and come out really satisfied for sure.
Awesome.
So, let's maybe talk about some of those specific positives that we liked. Jay?
Yeah, I had mentioned the chemistry between Chris Pine and Gal Gadot. They're the characters we kind of follow through this entire story, so that's key. And for them to kind of come together and give us these two characters, Steve Trevor, Diana Prince. Diana and then Diana Prince.
Yeah.
Kind of a funny way how they gave her that name.
It made sense, though, because I always wondered, where did that come from? Because that's not her name on Themyscira.
Yeah, so, their chemistry, definitely great. The humor back and forth, too, especially when they first get to London. how you had mentioned her kind of introduction to
Yeah.
society. They did handle that very, very well. The kind of core team they put together at some point, just a little oddball group outside of Diana and Steve, is very interesting. Maybe not as much as I would have wanted to see them, but I thought they were just kind of a good balance between Steve and Diana, because Steve and Diana are kind of like the two pinnacle people that you're going to see in this kind of story.
Of course,
and then you bring these three outsiders. And then obviously the action. The action is definitely the highlight. Specifically that scene where she's in the warehouse with those German soldiers. She jumps in through the window and just destroys like 10, 12
that
German
shot
soldiers.
where she knees the German soldier out of the window.
Yeah, that one was great.
That
and then,
action was amazing.
yeah, it's like her use, Patty Jenkinson's use of slow motion and camera angles is far better than what I've seen in recent memory. Just a lot of people kind of overuse slow motion and don't use it the right way.
Yeah,
like Michael Bay.
I hate it when it's used the wrong way.
Well, Michael Bay doesn't use it the right way, and
correctly.
He uses horrible camera angles sometimes. She knows how to use it correctly for certain action scenes, and it gets the right shot. And that was throughout the entire movie. Like that scene where she's riding the horse up to the German base, and she flips over the fence, and it goes to her just running on the floor. Like that's a beautiful shot.
Yeah.
And so that's some of the biggest highlights of this movie for me. The story, it's good. It could have been better, obviously. And I thought the stuff on Themyscira was great too. At the beginning of the movie, I was so locked into with the Amazons and Hippolyta and her aunt, all this kind of stuff. And so
rest in peace.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
I don't know how to say. Was it Antiope?
Antiope.
Antiope, that's her name.
Yeah.
Robin Wright was awesome in that role.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of a bummer. Yeah, spoiler. She kind of gets killed off, but there are a lot of positives to take from this movie, and it's not just this part. It's kind of throughout the whole movie, which is something we haven't seen from a DCEU movie in a long time.
Yeah, very true. I got to start with the beginning in Themyscira. Like that was such a beautiful setup. I talked to Gio about it. One thing we really enjoy about Man of Steel is the opening on Krypton, and like I kind of compared it to that, to where like you set up this place where this character came from, and it kind of like sets the tone for who they are going forward in their lives. And I thought that was done very well. And that little girl was so
great.
good.
She was good.
Like, she's a better actress than Gal Gadot. No offense. Gal Gadot was really good, especially as far as improving herself since BVS, you know, but that little girl really drew me in and made me care about Diana as a character in this movie. And I think that was a great start. And then you just see her evolve throughout the years and become this great warrior. And I think that's one thing that came across really well, is how great of a warrior Diana is. Because I was having this conversation with a buddy, like, yeah, Superman's very powerful, but he doesn't know how to fight. He's not a trained fighter. Wonder Woman is not as powerful as Superman. She's up there, but she knows how to fight.
After this movie, I would say she's almost as powerful as Superman.
Yeah, it depends.
And it's evident in Batman v Superman.
Yeah. I mean, let's say if they're on equal level, you know, power level, then she could whoop his ass, is what I'm saying. So I love that we have a superpowered being who's also a trained fighter. Like, you have Batman, trained fighter, but
she's the best
doesn't
of
have
both Soup
superpowers.
and
Exactly, and so that's what I really took away from it. I thought Chris Pine was great in this role, and I think you needed a strong second lead to balance out Gal Gadot. And I thought Gal Gadot was actually good. Like, and it's a lot of it is in her facial expressions and the way she smiles and the way she reacts to stuff, more than her dialogue. So those were some of the things that I really took away from this. And obviously the action, that beach scene on Themyscira, beautiful. The scene where they're like fighting in the town and she's like using the lasso, like I just loved the way she was fighting, and I was like, yes, this is Wonder Woman. So those are some of the things that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, completely agree with everything you guys said. I'm going to start with the mythology of Paradise Island and Themyscira. I thought that was really done well, especially how they made it, you know, to where Themyscira is this hidden island, you know, it's kind of like a Skull Island kind of thing where it's surrounded by so much fog and
it's in like a second dimension.
Yeah, it's like there's like a portal or something that goes into it.
It's literally hidden.
Yeah, and it's such an interesting contrast. Like, you see Themyscira, it's beautiful. That's all Diana has ever known. And then you see the real world, jolly old London, and it's like polluted.
Well, yeah,
and all this
Themyscira's
stuff.
not corrupted by men.
Yeah,
by man, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And on that point, Ares, the god of war, and the backstory behind that, to me, it made sense. They didn't overcomplicate it. They kind of made it a little bit of a joke here and there with, Gal Gadot, Diana not knowing her backstory.
Yeah.
That was
the play on that was pretty cool.
Yes, and then I agree with you, Jake. The chemistry, it needed to be strong, especially because this movie it tried to be like a little bit like It didn't try to be like it, but it took inspiration from the first Avenger. And what was so strong about that? The relationship between Steve Rogers and
Peggy Carter.
Peggy Carter, yes. And so I thought that was really done well. The humor in this, it hit. I don't think there was one time where it tried to be funny and I didn't at least,
Well, it wasn't over the top humor or like it didn't feel forced.
Yes.
There's like lines in Batman v Superman that feel forced, and this none of the dialogue.
Talking about the Jolly Rancher.
Yeah, stuff like that, or like issue with you. Like that's funny,
If
but
we didn't
like
see that
on
in the
paper
trailer,
it's
yeah.
funny, but like I don't know, it didn't
Doesn't
work that
work
well.
in the context.
But yeah, I thought the humor all felt very natural, and like the characters it was coming from is because that's how that character is, you know.
Before I continue, what was your guys' favorite humor bit out of the entire movie? I'll go first. For me, it's when Steve Trevor and Diana are first on their way to London, and Diana's about to go to sleep, and
the sex joke.
Yeah. She's like, "What's wrong? You don't sleep with women?" He's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I do, but in marriage beforehand and all that." I thought that was pretty funny. And then of course you had the one where he's getting out of the bathtub. Not really the bathtub or anything like that,
Yeah,
but and then she's like,
magical pool.
What is that?
Magical
Oh, it's
jacuzzi.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a favorite?
I don't think I have a favorite. I just thought overall the humor really worked.
The most memorable one is the sex joke on the boat.
Yeah,
for sure.
That was hilarious. See that. I don't know. That just felt natural because they would have that conversation, and that just showed me how much on Themyscira they're not just blind to the outside world. They study sex and stuff like that. Like
100 different
other
languages.
social
Well,
things,
it's funny. This movie is early 1900s or whatever, and they're having that conversation, and Steve Trevor reacts the way any of us would, and he says, "Well, do you have those books with you?"
No, yeah.
Like any of us would react like that if we're talking to a girl who's so blunt about this.
Yeah.
Who's never seen a man before, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's why it's so memorable, just because we're thinking through Steve Trevor's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So-
He represented us as
Exactly.
a viewer,
Yeah. And the biggest positive I'll say is Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, in my opinion. Her performance wasn't perfect, but she really needed to be like on her best day when being Wonder Woman. This movie required her to carry the movie at times. She had a great supporting cast, but I thought she was, considering her previous work and what we've seen from her so far, I would say this performance, if anything, was impressive. Without the help of, this goes to say, that Patty Jenkins is a really good director as well. She directed Charlize Theron to her first Oscar, her only Oscar, and so I thought she was a perfect fit as well. And Patty Jenkins, the action is incredible. Every sequence, from the battle on Themyscira Beach to the war front to the ending, where it really showed like full on Wonder Woman, whether she was going berserker mode, wherever you know what I mean, where
She's just
like,
gaining her true power. She was growing throughout the entire film, and you can just tell that she reached a peak during that film.
Yeah, and so all around, just fantastic.
Yeah, obviously there definitely are some problems with this movie, and I think we can maybe start with the villain, Ares, overall. But I thought the setup for Ares was great. Like, the way they told the story with Zeus and Ares, and then it didn't hit me for a second. I was like, oh, that's her brother, technically. Mm-hmm. And I love the play on her origin, because I think some people think that she was actually made of clay, but her mother lied to her and told her that she made her out of clay and Zeus brought her to life. But Zeus is really her father. Like, her and Wonder Woman's mother had sex. They hooked up. Yeah, exactly. So she actually gave birth to her, but she doesn't want her to know that she's a god, that she's Zeus's offspring. So I thought the whole setup in the mythology of Zeus, Themyscira, Ares, why Ares is evil against men, I thought that was all great. But then the ending of Ares, like the reveal of Ares and then the end battle, wasn't that great. Like, I thought he looked cool when he built his little armor and stuff like that. Like, it looked cool, but story wise, I felt like it didn't hit that well. And I thought if you incorporated more of Ares throughout the movie, like on like regular Earth, not just the backstory, and like had the ending be strong with their interaction at the end, I thought the movie would have went into like genius level territory. But that hindered it. The villain being kind of weak. It wasn't a bad villain, but I just thought it was weak. So I thought that really prevented the film from being like this upper level, like as good as some of the other top comic book movies. That was my main negative.
Well, and you can kind of, in a way, compare it to Man of Steel. Zod's on Earth this entire time, and they kind of come to head at the very end of the film. Rather Wonder Woman kind of Ares is like this myth through the entire film, and then he pops up at the end. Like even Steve Trevor didn't believe Diana until the very end of the movie, and so showing him or having the audience believe that he's actually there or whatever for not just the end of the movie but a little bit before maybe would have helped the ending, like you had said. So. Yeah. But I agree, the ending is a little rough. I think the reveal of Ares is kind of lackluster, I guess you could say. For me, it was a little predictable, and the only reason why is because I knew that David Thewlis was in there for more reasons than just a fun guy. Mm-hmm. There's no way he was in this movie just to be that guy, the character that he was. There was something else behind him, and that's kind of why I figured that he was Ares and not Danny Houston, who was the German leader. So that's kind of why I was bummed, just because it was a little bit predictable for me. And don't give a godlike dude who's supposed to have a deep voice an English accent. That's kind of what bugged me about it. Like, he had a freaking English accent, so...
Yeah, I'll have to agree with you both about the villain. I would have liked to see him a little more developed. I mean, obviously they give us a backstory. They give us a little bit of what the villain is all about. He wants humanity to kind of destroy themselves. Like, he'll give them the ideas, like a little whisper in the air about, like weapons and, all this other stuff.
Well, Dr. Poison.
Dr. Poison, who, like her, she's one of the more weaker supporting characters in my opinion.
I mean, that's one of my negatives too. Like, I didn't completely mind her, but she was just she didn't really make her creepy. Yeah. Like, what they were going for didn't fully, come to life for me.
Yeah, she kind of felt a little bit out of this movie because half the time she was like, and I'm just like, what are you doing? All right. So, anyways, another thing I'll mention is Patty Jenkins. She does a really good job with action. But when these action sequences require heavy visual effects, it's sometimes it's like, oh,
Same thing.
Yeah, you could tell.
And the DCEU, for the most part, it's known to have some of the better visual effects in the comic book genre. But here, it's just, I think it tried a little bit too much. Maybe another month of post-production work that could have touched it up here and there. Especially with Wonder Woman, when she's doing all these things like, jumping over the fences or going through the glass. That shot where the glass breaks and then you see her coming towards you. It's it's a little bit, it's a quick shot, but it's a little computer animated.
So you can definitely tell.
For me,
computer generated.
I actually didn't even think about those, and that's true. But for me, it was the gigantic explosions or the very battle with Ares. It just didn't look real, and it was kind of just came up so fast. And I think just maybe dumbing it down a little bit, making it a little bit of a smaller thing. Like at the very beginning when Steve Trevor is escaping the German base, that explosion, that little bomb made that gigantic of an explosion, you know what I mean? It's that type of stuff that bothered me, but I never even thought about the glass breaking stuff. Now that I think about it, that there could have been a little bit of an update there.
Yeah.
But honestly, other than those few things, I don't have any other negatives.
There's not much.
You can nitpick here and there, but there's not a lot of big negatives. So real quick, think about it. Your guys' favorite moment of the film. I know mine. We might end up having the same one, but I'll go ahead and talk about mine. Mine is when she comes out of the trench in No Man's Land, and she goes. She doesn't care at all. She just goes, and she's taking all the fire on with her shield, and that scene, I thought the special effects there looked great. When she's taking all the bullets on her shield, that was amazing to me. I loved that scene and how the soldiers fall behind her and how she leads them into that battle. Beautiful.
Out of the entire movie, the shot that I like most is the shot where she's behind her shield.
Yeah,
it's like a split-second shot. It doesn't last for very long, which is kind of unfortunate. But she's just sitting behind her shield with her head down, just standing there holding her ground. And it's by far the best shot of the movie for me. And I wish they would have been a little bit longer, but I get it's war. You can't just stand there forever. So. Yeah.
I have two parts. One's small and one's a little bit bigger. I'll start with the small one. It's when she's in the room talking to the generals, and the generals are like, that's what soldiers are meant to do. They're meant to die. And Diana being the warrior that she is, where she comes from, she's like, no way. You guys are generals and you're just hiding behind
I remember
desks.
you reacting to that in the theater. You were like,
wow.
hell yeah.
I was like, yeah, I bumped Aaron and yeah. Anyway, that's my friend.
And Gal Gadot wasn't bad in those scenes. Like there was a few moments where she's a little wooden, but in some of those scenes she actually surprised me with her performance, honestly.
And the second one, for me, it's just the first maybe half hour of the movie where it takes place all in Themyscira.
Yeah. I mean, that beach scene is a close second as far as
that's
just moments and scenes.
It had action. There was a humor when they have him in a lasso of truth. He's like, "What is this?"
I love his facial expressions when like he's being forced to tell the truth. He's like he's trying to fight it, and the way he reacts, so good, so good.
And that's another test to Chris Pine.
Yeah, exactly.
Pine.
You needed somebody.
He's literally sitting there in just a rope that's not doing anything to him. He has to act that way.
I love when he grabs it himself and puts it on. That was great.
Right, yeah, and then that big credit to that opening part, that opening half hour goes to Connie Nielsen as
and Robin Wright
and Robin Wright.
Those two
together
were great.
You couldn't ask for a better supporting cast for Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. In a movie like this, they both look like they really wanted to be a part of this movie, that they understand the importance of it, and they played their characters perfect.
It's unfortunate that Robin Wright's character had to die. I mean, it was...
Well, and if they're going to be part of the battle in Justice League, how badass would that be to see her there,
I really think she's in that... I think she's in there because I think that Justice League... I think that battle is kind of like, back then, like,
a precursor.
Oh,
we took on that.
That's possible.
Could be.
I mean, that would kind of make sense because I was thinking, like, I kind of want to just see the Justice League take on this threat, but I wouldn't mind either way if that's set in the past or the future.
That's one of the predictable things from. I felt like Robin Wright was the most expendable character out of all of these.
Yeah, you were mentioning that.
It's a motive for Diana to move on and go forward, And Connie Nielsen, I love her as Hippolyta. I was having major gladiator flashbacks because I've loved her ever since that movie. But I hope we see her in the future. It was said in the movie that Diana can't return, but there's no doubt we'll see the Amazons and Hippolyta.
If you've read the comics, there's certain ways that she could find a way back and she could see her mother again.
She is in Justice League. She's on the official.
Well, I expect to either see her like in a flashback or joining.
You never know.
Joining the League in a fight or something.
Either way, give us more. Give us more.
Definitely.
Okay.
All right. So overall thoughts and your score out of 10. Let's start with you first, Gio.
All around a fantastic movie. It's not perfect, but I mean, given the importance of the comic book genre, of this woman's first on-screen debut,
and that's the movie pop figure too,
I couldn't be any more happier, honestly. And this is a big step for the DCEU. Whether it means things just for the studio itself and not the timeline, they let the filmmaker make the film, and I'm going to talk about that later on the Comic Hero Talk and my rant. But I really enjoyed this movie. I'm gonna go 8.75.
Wow, nice.
For Wonder Woman.
Yeah. For me, falling in love with this character recently. I just started reading her comic books last year, and like it delivered for me on all fronts. And I was like very happy with the way they handled her, and the action's just great, and everything's awesome. And like I love that. Like a lot of people, I've heard people poo-poo this, but I like how. I know there's a cheesy line at the end where it says love is what's going to save the world or something like that, but
I love that.
But here's the thing, Wonder Woman was doubting men the whole time. She's like, oh, my mother was right, men don't deserve me, men don't deserve to be saved. But Steve Trevor showed her a beautiful thing about humanity, that love is a great thing and that love can give people strength, and that's what gave her strength to ultimately defeat Ares. So she realized that through love, she realized that humans aren't all bad. So I love that overall major theme, and that really satisfied me by the end of the movie. And I'm going to go ahead and give Wonder Woman an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's a very strong film with a few minor flaws, but nothing that, the positives don't outshine,
Yeah, the theme is. I love the theme as well. I think that was strong. And a lot of people are going to see it as cheesy because it's a Wonder Woman movie. Oh, love's really going to save the world, but it's true. It really is true, and
especially in today's world.
Yeah, and I think Patty Jenkins realized that, and she kind of incorporated it very, very well in this movie. But yeah, I enjoyed the movie much more than I thought I would. It's definitely the best DCEU movie for me, anyway. The action is great. The chemistry is great. I love the characters that kind of created. Some okay. The ones that we want to follow in this movie are definitely the best. And I'm looking forward to seeing her in the future, whether it's Justice League or sequel, whatever it is.
A sequel.
I would love to see this character move on because it seems like Gal Gadot is getting better as she kind of puts on this suit. So I will give Wonder Woman a 7.5 out of 10.
Solid. That's real solid.
I definitely enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to what's going to happen next for her. So
yeah, for sure. All right, well, that's going to do it for our spoilers review of Wonder Woman. I am Jacob Bartley. You can find me on Twitter at @JacobBartley_, and I'll let you guys.
Twitter, Instagram at Qui-Gon Jake. Check out apocalypsemovies.com every day, and the Padawan podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You guys can find me on Twitter at GeoDude90 and check out apocalypsemovies.com. We got editorials up. We're going to have a written review and so much more.
Yeah, and please subscribe. Hit us up in the comment section. Hit that like button. We love hearing from you guys. And also check out Comic Hero Talk. We're bringing the show back. We're going to do it on video. We got a bunch of cool stuff, a bunch of new segments to introduce, and the theme this week is Wonder Woman. You guessed it. All right, thanks again for listening, and until next time, you all take care.